And let us pray. Aramim ka Adonai ki dilitani. Adonai Elohai la'olam odeka amen. I will extol you, O Lord, for you have drawn me up. O Lord my God, I will give thanks to you forever. Amen. So we have come to the last week in our Advent and Christmas series on perspectives on the Christmas story, because you know that Christmas is not over yet, friends. We still have one more day. It's all the fun, right? The 12 days of Christmas, unlike what the stores will tell you, doesn't start until December 25th. It goes all the way until Epiphany Day, which is technically tomorrow, January 6th. And so we come and we celebrate still Christmas with the trees and the poinsettias and the candles and all of the good, glorious things, and cookies, always with the cookies. And so we continue today as we look at these perspectives on the story. We've talked about Joseph, we've talked about the shepherds, we've talked about the angels and the divine beings, we've talked about Mary, we've talked about the animals. And so today we get to, anybody? The wise men, otherwise known as the Magi. So what do we know? What do we know about the wise men, the Magi, the three kings? Tell me, shoot it off. What do you got? They came from the east. They brought gifts. Say it again, Ellen. They followed a star. How many were there? What were they? Wise. Well done, Happy. Smart. They're astrologers, right? We've got all sorts of things that we know, right? If we were to collectively as society say what the wise men, what the Magi's were, we would say that they are, of course, the three kings from the east, right? They brought gold, they brought frankincense, they brought myrrh. According to some traditions, they even have names. Gaspar, Melchior, Balthazar. Each of those people have different locations related to them, which is why in our nativity they don't all look the same. They arrive on Christmas, right? Or at least close enough so that the wise men and the shepherds can exist in our nativity set at the same time. Anybody? Anybody? Right? Here's the kicker. Here's what we actually know about the Magi from the biblical text. We know that sometime after the birth of Jesus, an unspecified number of Magi arrived at the house where the Holy Family was living. Right? This is what it was in today's text. There is no indication of how many there are. There could be 2, there could be 5, there could be 500. I don't think it was 500. We have no idea what their geographical home was other than east, right? They could have been from Wisconsin, if, Bethlehem was in Minnesota. They could have been from Britain. Who knows? We don't know their names. We don't even really know their gender. But we do know that they brought 3 gifts. They brought gold, they brought frankincense, and they brought myrrh. And they did that to pay homage to the newborn King of the Jews, which would explain why they go to Jerusalem before they go to Bethlehem, right? Let's try that again, shall we? There we go. So what does it matter? What does it matter if there were 3 kings or 3 astrologers? What does it matter if there were 5 women who showed up with the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh? Let's think about it a little bit. We know they came from the east. East means outside of Israel. It could be Babylon, it could be Persia, it could be India, it could have been China, it could have been anywhere east of where Bethlehem and Jerusalem were, which means that these travelers are Gentiles. These are not Jewish people who are seeking the Jewish Messiah. These are the first people who heralded the birth of Jesus, were not Jewish people. Think about that. Matthew's gospel, the one who takes the very specific time to delineate how it is that Jesus Christ is the son of David, and therefore in the line of kings of the Jewish heritage. The first people to herald his birth are not Jewish. They came from outside of Israel. They come and they celebrate the birth of this new king. Why? Because the birth of Christ isn't just for one people. The birth of Christ is for all people. For Jews and Gentiles, for men, for women, for slave, for free. I feel like Paul said something like that somewhere, right? This is what we have. This is how we experience the birth of Christ. Then we get to the gifts, right? We got gold, we got frankincense, we got myrrh. One of my favorite Epiphany memes of all time is the picture of the gifts of the three wise women, diapers and bottles and baby clothes. What? Right? Because, of course, the wise women would have brought the practical things. The Magi bring lifetime gifts. This isn't the immediate needs. It's not the baby clothes. It's not the diapers. It's not the burp rags and all of the things, or my personal favorite baby thing ever, the boppy. These are the gifts that are brought to honor royalty. These are gifts to symbolize the wealth and the status, to say, we believe that you are worth as much as this gold, as this very expensive incense, and as this very expensive perfume. Christ is king. The baby Jesus didn't look like king, but Christ is king. And what seems like power to the rest of the world isn't entirely true. And so we get to come and celebrate, right? We come and we celebrate this baby who was born king, not just for his people, but for all people, for ourselves as well. See, I think that the story of the coming of the Magi reinforces what we already know about Christmas. The joy of the incarnation, The joy of the nativity is found in the incarnation. That's lots of big words. The joy of Christmas is found in the fact that Jesus Christ is fully human and fully divine. That God came down into the world as a baby, lived, breathed, pooped, didn't take a bath when his mom wanted him to, all of the things. And God did that out of love. How powerful is that? This is the gift of Christmas for us. And yet, while we cognitively know that that gift is always there, sometimes it's really helpful to have a reminder, right? To have that tangible thing to hold on to say, I know that God is with me. And so the tradition that we have at Faith is on Epiphany Sunday to receive star words. They are gifts from God, that we may watch over ourselves, that we may watch over and experience God's loving kindness every day. So not now, but in a little bit, we're going to gather our words. I know many people at the beginning of the year have the tradition of picking a word for themselves, right? I have several people in my life that go, this is the word I've picked for myself this year, and look, I stamped it on metal and I put it on a bracelet, or I wove it into a thing, or I drew a piece of artwork because this is the word that I want to focus on this year. That's not what star words are. When you pick your word, you're picking it out of a basket where it's sitting there upside down. You don't get to go through and say, ooh, this year I want boring. So much do I want boring this year. What you do is you say, I like yellow, and here's what is on my star. It is a gift from God. I have been doing Star Words for many, many years. We've been doing Star Words for at least the last 5. And every year at the beginning of the year, I get a word and I go, okay. One year I got faith. That was a lovely year to pull that out of the basket. Last year I got quietness. No joke, friends. I was in the middle of doing PT in August going, oh, that's funny. The word may change and evolve for you over the year. Mine usually do. What I think about faith, what I thought about faith the year I got faith, changed dramatically by the end of the year. Quietness changed very dramatically for me in April and has continued to evolve and change over time. So when you take your word, I invite you to ponder on it. Don't freak out if it's a word and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with this. Sit with it. Dwell with it. Put it in a place in your house where you're going to see every day. Mine's over my desk. You can see it when you come to my house at 1 o'clock today. But this year we're going to take the time. We're going to dwell in the joy of God, born as a baby, fully human, fully divine for everyone. That we may receive this gift of Christ, that we may share this gift of Christ, that we may know that Christ is with us always. Amen.